I just want to start off first of all by reiterating everything that was said previously about all the work done from everyone involved in the last, since November 2013. I've got to know a lot of these people and they are passionate and to be admired for that. I wish I had half their energy half the time. They wear me out just thinking about it. I wanted to give you a different perspective today, I suppose, as someone who's been through this from the other side of it. I had the good fortune this year of seeing my first bear in the wild in Canada. It was just myself and another person, the area about 30 metres away. And do you know what my first thought was? Take a photo. Take a photo. The last time I was in South Africa, there was just myself and a guide, and we were very close to an elephant who decided, a big bull elephant who decided he didn't like us being in there and charged us. And he came to a skidding halt, you know, less than 20 metres away, and his trumpeting was so loud, I thought my eardrums would burst. His ears were flapping. My heart was pounding with fear, with respect, with awe. And the guide said to me, "Whatever you do, Sharon, don't move. And please, do not take a photo." I didn't at that point at any time think to myself, here is a dangerous creature that at any moment could potentially take my life. That was not the first thought that went through my head. And I think the reason that didn't happen is because I had toddled off to the information centre when I got to those countries. I read all about those animals. I read about what the conservation, the science, and also what I could do to help keep myself safe in the event that we came across these animals in the wild where I chose to put myself for my pleasure. Some people get their pleasure from parachuting, surfing. There's lots of ways that we get pleasure, that we put ourselves at risk. But every time I go in that ocean, I live just a couple of 100 metres away from it. I know the risks that I take. But that doesn't mean that I don't think about safety a lot, because that's my background as well. When Cull was young, we spent nearly 22 months all together travelling around this amazing country of ours. We did it from the top to the bottom, from east to west. We covered it all. And every time we went somewhere, we went to the information centre. Now, when we rocked into the Northern Territory and we got our photo taken in front of the big crocodile, the information centre, when we walked in there and learnt about all the risks, and you can't swim here and don't swim there, and well, you might be able to swim there, but we don't, guarantee it. I didn't grab him by the arm and flee to the car and take off and never come back. We stayed. And those information centres gave me the chance to talk to Cull about the risks when we're out in that environment, wherever we happen to be, and what those risks were. The irony here, when this whole Cull and debate arose, was I thought to myself, where's our information centre? Where do I go if I'm in the Margaret River region and I don't know the area very well, where I can go and hear what the scientists have to say? See the posters on the wall about conservation and learn about that. We don't have that, because here in WA we become frightened to talk about it. We don't want to make it public because we think it scares people off. Well, I disagree. I think that by having that information, we are able to make good decisions as individuals and as parents, so that we can learn to go into this wild environment with the respect and the awe of the creatures that live there. If I could do one thing in my future, it would be to see that information centre, because you know what? You will support the cause. But for those people who either, don't really care, but geez, I'm visiting Margaret River this weekend, or I'm here at Scarborough, or I'm here at Cottesloe, and I've seen the helicopter going backwards and forwards, they might want to go and see and find out more. They might want to take their children along and have a look, just like I did with Kyle. And if we can achieve that and stop being fearful of talking about it as a risk, a risk that exists, then we can start to have discussions about, well, what do you do? If I'm going to that beach and the surf lifesaving isn't there at that time of year, or if I want to surf at 6 in the morning, what can I do to take responsibility for my safety and my choices and my decisions? And I think that's what a good information centre can do. It educates not only what we know, but the people who aren't sure or who have a different opinion. So, where does that lead me to? I've decided, I know we're not going to get support from the current government, so it's up to us, and I do believe that by having an independent information centre we can do a couple of things as well. We can not only educate people, we can give people information about what they need to be aware of, but we can also support victims, their families, people who have been, when an attack has occurred and been traumatised by it. We can be one of the first places in the world to specialise in how we do this better, because a lot of this erupted because when the last tragedy happened, there was a void and we hadn't prepared for it. We didn't have the answer straight away. We weren't supporting the victims when the media is there. We didn't do enough in that transition phase, and this is where we've ended up. So I believe if we could have something that not only educates but also supports, we could have something that is world's best practice, and that would be something we could be very proud of. So, knowing how much Cull loved a good information centre when he was young, and knowing how much money I spent at all the information centres around Australia, I've decided to set up a crowdfunding campaign that will run for the next 6 weeks. What I'm trying to do is raise the seed money to get a premises here in WA to start our first information centre that will not only provide those services but also retail products which will then make the centre self-sufficient and not reliant on anybody to fund it. And that way we can be completely independent and present the facts and information for people to make up their own mind. So we've got 6 weeks. If you feel in any way inclined, hop onto the Indiegogo crowdfunding site. You'll find us at Ocean Safe Centre. The campaign actually ends on what would have been Kyle's 25th birthday. So that's part of the reason why we've started at this point. So what I'd like you to do, if you are all interested, please take a photo. Tweet it, put it in your phone, write it down the old-fashioned way, whatever you have to do, but share it. That's what I'd really like you to do, so that even if you don't have the money to pledge to us, then just spreading the word and getting people to go and look at the message will be a starting point for me as well. So thank you very much, everyone, and thank you for turning out.